Men don't usually admit it out loud, but deep down they feel it, that magnetic pull towards someone much younger or much older. And the moment it hits them, panic follows. What will people think? What if I'm being played? What if I wake up years later realizing I walked straight into a trap? That's the risk every man faces when he enters an age gap blind. Because society has already set the stage for you. Mockery, labels, and judgment. They'll keep you distracted with names and jokes while the real danger hides beneath the surface. See, these relationships aren't just about attraction. They're about power, time, wounds, and exchange. Ignore that. And you won't just lose respect. You'll lose yourself. Stay with me. Because I'm about to expose the hidden truth you were never meant to hear. That tension you just felt? It's real. It's powerful. But before I reveal what's truly hiding behind it, do me a quick favor. Hit subscribe, tap that like button, and drop a simple yes or no in the comments. Have you ever felt pulled into an age gap dynamic? Because in the next few minutes, you're going to discover a truth that will either make you breathe easier or shake your perspective completely. The mockery game, society versus your desire. You don't talk about it out loud, but you've felt the weight. The sideways glances, the mocking comments, the whispers behind your back. The moment you're drawn to a younger woman, society rushes in with labels. Insecure, desperate, predatory. And the moment you're interested in an older woman, the story flips. Weak, lost, a boy looking for a mother. No matter what you do, you lose. That's the game you've been forced into. But here's the raw truth most men never admit. You're not actually battling your own desire. You're battling the cage society built around you. The shame you feel? It didn't start inside you. It was planted there. Men are conditioned to laugh off attraction jokes, stay silent, swallow curiosity, and pretend they don't feel what they actually feel. Because the system decided your choices must be policed. Think about it. The same world that mocks an older man with a younger woman will celebrate an older woman with a younger man. One gets painted as pathetic, the other gets painted as empowered. That's not logic, that's social engineering. A double standard designed to keep you second-guessing yourself. And the tragedy? Most men internalize it. They believe the whispers. They censor themselves before anyone else even gets the chance. That's how you end up living in fear of opinions, instead of clarity about your own choices. But if you want freedom, the first step isn't changing who you're attracted to. The first step is recognizing that the shame doesn't belong to you. It belongs to the world that taught you to feel it. So the real question isn't, what will they think of me? The real question is, why do I keep giving them permission to decide what's acceptable for me? The design of attraction. Now let's strip away the noise and look at what's really going on beneath the surface. Attraction doesn't follow polite rules. It follows design. When you feel pulled toward a younger woman, it's not because you're shallow. It's because biology whispers youth carries vitality, fertility, possibility. Her presence lights up a man's nervous system. Not because society told him to want her, but because life itself coded that signal into his blood. Flip the coin. When a man feels drawn to an older woman, it's not weakness. It's recognition. Because experience leaves fingerprints. An older woman often radiates something no girl can fake. Emotional steadiness, wisdom, grounding energy that cuts through chaos. She has lived. She has lost. She has learned. And that presence speaks to a man's craving for peace and depth. Here's the part society won't tell you. Neither pull is wrong. Both are natural responses to different kinds of value. Youth excites because it points to the future. Maturity attracts because it anchors you in the present. But society doesn't want you to see that. They want to reduce both to caricatures. Either you're chasing beauty to hide from aging or you're seeking a mother figure because you're broken. But that's lazy judgment. The truth is sharper. Attraction isn't a moral failure. It's information. It's data about what phase of life you're in, what your soul is hungry for, and what you might be missing. The danger doesn't come from the attraction itself. The danger comes from pretending it shouldn't exist. Because here's reality. You don't control the spark. You only control what you do with it. And the first step? Stop shaming yourself for feeling it. When attraction becomes escape. Now let's go deeper. Attraction itself isn't dangerous. But chasing it for the wrong reasons? That's the real trap. See, many men walk into age gap relationships believing they're chasing love. But in reality, they're just running from themselves. With a younger partner, it feels like a magic cure for the fear of getting older. Her laughter makes you forget the mirror. Her attention numbs the quiet panic of irrelevance. It's intoxicating, until it isn't. With an older partner, the trap is different. She becomes the anchor you've been craving. Her guidance feels like safety. Her nurturing feels like home. But if you're not careful, that comfort morphs into dependency. What starts as attraction turns into leaning on her to fill wounds you never faced. And once you depend on someone else to patch your emptiness, you're no longer leading. You're clinging. So here's the question most men avoid asking themselves. Is this real connection? Or just a cover-up? See, the spark you feel with someone younger or older can be powerful, but power isn't always the same as truth. Sometimes it's just camouflage. And if you don't strip it down to the bones, you'll mistake escape for intimacy. The brutal self-check. If you want to know whether your desire is love or distraction, you need to face 3 brutal questions. 1. If she were my age, would I still feel the same pull? Be honest. Would her presence, personality, and energy still captivate you if the age gap wasn't there? 2. Is what I admire about her permanent or guaranteed to fade with time? Ask yourself, am I drawn to her beauty, youth, or ambition? Or is it her wisdom, values, and presence? Because one will fade, the other will deepen. 3. Does this relationship help me face my insecurities? Or does it help me forget them? If being with her feels like an escape hatch from your fears, that's not intimacy. That's anesthesia. And here's the thing. If those answers sting, good. They're supposed to. Because painful honesty is the only filter strong enough to separate real love from desperate distraction. The illusion of freedom. Let me drop a truth bomb. Attraction is never the trap. Blindness is. The moment you mistake escape for intimacy, you're no longer choosing her for who she is. You're choosing her for what she helps you avoid. And that's when the relationship becomes a cage. A cage disguised as freedom. The exchange factor. Every relationship involves an exchange. That's not cynical, it's reality. The problem is when men confuse that exchange for unconditional love. In age gap dynamics, the trade-offs are sharper, easier to see, and harder to admit. Let's break it down. Older man plus younger woman. She brings beauty, vitality, a sense of adventure. He offers stability, protection, resources built over years. Both get something they crave. That doesn't make it wrong, but it does make it transactional. And transactions only last as long as the goods still feel valuable. Older woman plus younger man. She provides wisdom, emotional grounding, sometimes social or professional connections. He brings ambition, drive, and raw energy that reminds her of the hunger she fears losing. Again, it works, but again, it's an exchange. Here's the trap most men fall into. Admiration isn't loyalty. Excitement isn't devotion. Security isn't intimacy. If you blur those lines, you'll mistake temporary trades for permanent bonds. And when the exchange shifts, when her beauty fades in your eyes or his ambition turns elsewhere, the relationship cracks under the weight of unmet expectations. The give-get check. So how do you protect yourself from falling into that trap? Run a give-get check. Grab a piece of paper and write down, what do I bring to the table? What does she bring to the table? Now be brutally honest. If all you see is surface-level value, looks, money, status, then what you have isn't a partnership. It's a deal. And deals only last as long as the trade feels fair. Love can include exchange, yes. But if exchange is the foundation, the structure won't survive the storms of time. The point isn't to demonize the trade. The point is to stop lying to yourself about what it is. Call it what it is. Then decide if that's enough for you. The weight of judgment. Now let's talk about the weight no one wants to admit. You might think it's just you and her against the world. But the truth is, the world never stays silent. The moment people see an age gap, they load the shotgun of judgment. If you're older with a younger woman, you're a sugar daddy. If you're younger with an older woman, you're a boy toy. Friends whisper. Family questions. Strangers smirk. And if you let those voices echo long enough, they'll start sounding like your own. Here's the irony. Most of those critics don't actually care about your happiness. They care about protecting their story of what's normal. If you step outside their script, it threatens them. So they mock you. Not because they see truth, but because they can't face their own discomfort. The danger of external validation. Here's the real danger. Judgment only has power if you let it crawl inside you. The more you shape your choices around their approval, the weaker your foundation becomes. Eventually, you won't even know if you're with her because you want her, or because you're trying to prove something to everyone else. So how do you cut through the noise? Grab a pen and write down 3 reasons why you're in this relationship. Not the noble reasons you'd tell your mother. Not the safe answers you'd give your friends. The real reasons. And if all 3 are about what she gives you, and none are about what you build together, you've just uncovered a red flag. Clarity doesn't silence critics, but it does strip them of their power. When you know exactly why you're there, their labels stop sticking. You stop needing them to approve. Because your decision isn't theirs to validate. It's yours to own. We've already pulled apart the shame, the exchanges, and the social judgment. Now it's time to talk about the most dangerous layer of all, the blind spots. Because power doesn't always look like domination. In age gap relationships, it often shows up as subtle leverage. And if you don't see it, it will shape the relationship for you. The blind spots. Older woman. Dynamic. With an older woman, the dynamic flips. She often becomes the guide, the nurturer, the anchor. And yes, that can feel like home. But if she hasn't dealt with her own wounds, that nurturing morphs into control. Her advice becomes law. Her care becomes leverage. What started as balance slowly tips into dependency. The danger isn't her experience, it's your hunger for someone else to carry your weight. Why this isn't about villains. Now don't twist this. This isn't about painting women as manipulators. Most women aren't plotting to exploit men. They're acting from their own blind spots, just like you. Her need for security, her fear of being alone, her craving for validation. Those drivers can twist the dynamic without her even realizing it. The solution? Run a dual blind spot scan. Ask yourself, what unspoken need is she leaning on? What unspoken fear am I bringing into this? If you can name both, you can navigate with clarity instead of slipping into dependency. Because the moment you let your blind spot steer, you're no longer leading. You're being led without even knowing it. The green flag checklist. Now let's get practical. Not every age gap relationship is doomed. Some become rare connections that silence the noise and defy the odds. But they don't happen by accident. They happen when both people bring clarity instead of illusion, strength instead of wounds, honesty instead of denial. So here's your green flag checklist. 1. Do your 5-year visions align? Career, family, lifestyle, health, values. 2. When you list the reasons you're together, do at least half go beyond surface trades like looks or money? 3. When conflict comes, do you both fight for the relationship instead of against each other? 4. Do you feel freer with them, not smaller? If you can't say yes to these, the foundation isn't love. It's convenience. When the green flags line up, the age difference fades. The bond stops being about filling gaps and starts being about building something real. That's when judgment loses its grip. That's when whispers become irrelevant. That's when even time itself becomes less of an enemy. The final challenge. So here's the hidden truth men were never meant to hear. Age gaps don't create your weaknesses. They magnify them. They magnify your fear of irrelevance. They magnify your hunger for validation. They magnify your longing for stability. They magnify your desperation to escape yourself. That's why they feel so intoxicating. And that's why they can feel so destructive. Because they don't just reveal her, they reveal you. So stop asking if age gap relationships are right or wrong. Start asking if they are real. Are you choosing her because she aligns with your vision? Or because she soothes a fear you don't want to face? Are you building a bond that can survive time? Or are you just trying to outrun it? The answers aren't comfortable, but they are necessary. Because in the end, this was never about her age. It was about your clarity. And the men who thrive? They're not the ones who avoid the mirror. They're the ones who stare into it, face the reflection, and lead anyway. Now it's your turn. Have you ever been in an age gap relationship or secretly wanted one? What did it reveal about you? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if this gave you value, hit subscribe, smash the like button, and share this with someone who needs to hear the truth. Because remember, the truth isn't always easy, but it's always better than living blind.